Hello and welcome back to yet another video on the Alejandro Hernandez podcast. And today I'm going to be giving you guys my predictions for the NFC Championship game and the AFC Championship game for this upcoming weekend. And I'm going to open with the Saturday 3 p.m. kickoff, Washington Commanders at the Philadelphia Eagles. I have the Eagles covering the spread in this game, which is set at -6. I believe they win by at least a touchdown in this game. And a bet that I placed was Eagles money line combined with Saquon Barkley to run for over 129.5 rushing yards. I believe it's just a complete mismatch in favor of Philadelphia with their dominant offensive line going up against a weak Washington defensive line. And in their two previous matchups, Saquon Barkley in Week 11 on Thursday Night Football at home, he had 28 touches, 198 total yards, and 2 touchdowns. And then in Week 16 at Washington, he had 29 touches, 150 total yards, and 2 touchdowns. But just both performances were dominant on Saquon Barkley's part. Washington had no answers for him in both matchups. I believe they won't have an answer for him yet again with him riding all this momentum into the NFC Championship game. And also there's a sample size of Washington not being great against opposing running backs. Last weekend against Jahmyr Gibbs in Detroit, he had 165 scrimmage yards on just 20 touches the entire game. So he had pretty much over 8 yards to touch in that game. He was dominant. He was getting open running lanes. The line's blockers, he wasn't getting touched past the line of scrimmage. I'd say like by 10 yards, he was still untouched. Jahmyr Gibbs had a monster game, and I believe Saquon will also have a monster game in this NFC Championship game, and he will be the reason the Eagles get away with this win. I also believe that Jalen Hurts and the Eagles will dominate time of possession, and that they'll take care of the football, which is all Jalen Hurts is really being asked to do, just take care of the football, don't turn it over. This postseason, he has 0 turnovers. The Eagles are 2-0, obviously, and he's been great. He's executed what the Eagles have asked him to execute to perfection. He hasn't needed to push the ball downfield. He hasn't needed to complete 25, 30 passes in order for the Eagles to win. Just hand the ball off, take care of it when you're asked to throw it, and he's been great at that. And I also believe that he'll be effective on play action in this game. And against the Rams, he was running a lot of play-action bootlegs because they want to fake out the defense. They want them to sell on Saquon Barkley running the football, and they can play action off of that, and they'll have open receivers in the flat, such as Dallas Goedert, Devonta Smith, and hopefully they get A.J. Brown involved in this matchup. Historically, A.J. Brown has been really successful on the Eagles going up against Washington, and if there was ever a get-right game for A.J. Brown and to get his confidence back, I think it's this game. And we'll see if the Eagles target him early, especially for wide receivers. Usually if they're not getting the ball early, they're not going to get the ball at all because their head is just not in it. And recently that's been the case with A.J. Brown, but hopefully in this matchup, the Eagles will get him the ball early, get him involved, get him hyped up, and he'll get his confidence back. As for why I think the Eagles will dominate this game, they're going to sustain drives, they're going to chew clock, and they're going to take care of the football. Philadelphia's previous 2 home NFC Championship games have both been blowouts in favor of Philadelphia. Their first one being at home in 2018 against Case Keenum and the Vikings. They blew them out 38-7. And then in 2022, when they had to play Brock Purdy and the 49ers, they beat them 31-7. Brock Purdy did get injured in that game, but the Eagles dominated from start to finish. So that's why I'm confident that in this particular matchup, they will also dominate. Now moving on to Washington's side of the football in terms of Jayden Daniels and how he's performed. Rookie quarterbacks historically in conference championship games are 0-5. Now, Jayden Daniels has been breaking records. He's been pretty much breaking all rookie quarterback standards this season. So it wouldn't shock me if he went into Philadelphia and won. However, I do think it's more likely the Eagles win by blowout than it is Washington wins close in this game. With that being said, Jayden Daniels' worst performance of his season overall was at Philadelphia on Thursday Night Football, in which he barely surpassed 200 yards. He had 1 turnover, and he just really struggled to push the ball down the field. Terry McLaurin in this game only had 1 catch for 10 yards as he was shadowed by Quinyon Mitchell. And although he did exit that Rams game, I believe Quinyon Mitchell will be back for this NFC Championship game. The Eagles defense will be at full strength while also missing Nakobe Dean, but they will be at full strength. And I expect Vic Fangio to come out with a game plan to not blitz Jayden Daniels. You've seen defensive coordinators such as Todd Bowles, who is the head coach of Tampa, but he does call the defensive plays. He tried to blitz Jayden in that wild card round, and he got burned for it. Aaron Glenn, defensively for the Lions, tried to blitz Jayden Daniels, got burned for it on the deep ball and by him scrambling. I believe Vic Fangio will do the opposite, and instead of blitzing him, he's going to drop back players in zone coverage, in man coverage, have safeties over the top to take away the deep passing game, as well as having spies underneath, such as Zach Bond. He'll make his edge defenders respect Jayden Daniels and keep him inside the pocket. That's going to be the key on whether the Eagles can keep Jayden Daniels inside the pocket. I believe the running game for Washington will be shut down from the very beginning. They will not be able to run the ball in this game. And I also believe that the Eagles cannot let Terry McLaurin and Dyami Brown take over this game. And they have the personnel to stop them. They have Darius Slay, who was excellent in the divisional round. They have Cooper DeJean, and they also have Quinyon Mitchell. So that's 3 cornerbacks to match up with their top 2 receivers. And I believe that they'll match up very well with them. Overall, I expect the Eagles to dominate this game on the trenches. The offensive line and the defensive line will be the reason that the Eagles win this game, along with Saquon Barkley having a terrific performance, solidifying his legacy as one of the top running backs of all time, especially one of the top running back seasons ever, as I think he'll surpass Terrell Davis in this game for the all-time single-season rushing record, regular season plus postseason. I believe Saquon breaks that in this game. And Philadelphia runs a ton of momentum into the Super Bowl. Now moving on to the Sunday game at 6:30, kickoff at Arrowhead Stadium, the Buffalo Bills at the Kansas City Chiefs. This is my game of the year. This is the game I've been waiting for. I knew this AFC Championship matchup would come to fruition, and it has. And we're getting Patrick Mahomes x Josh Allen part 4 in the playoffs. I'm so hyped for this game. I have the Kansas City Chiefs getting the best of the Buffalo Bills yet again in the playoffs. I have Patrick Mahomes improving to 4-0 against Josh Allen head-to-head in the playoffs. Now, in terms of bets for this game that I like, I'm going to be betting Chiefs money line, but I'd recommend a multitude of bets. I like the Bills plus 3.5. That means that they could lose by a field goal and they'll still cover the spread, and they can win the game and they'll still cover. And I like the over total score, which is set at 47.5. I think this game is a shootout, similar to the 2021 AFC Divisional when that score line was 42-36, in which the Chiefs won in overtime. I think both offenses will come to play in this game. Both quarterbacks will come to play in this game at their best. And I also love the Chiefs team total over 23.5. I believe the Chiefs offense has been underestimated all season. I wouldn't say underestimated. I believe they're being fairly criticized, but we have not seen the best of their offense yet. The Chiefs were one of 3 teams in the regular season to not surpass 30-plus points in a game all season, but I think that they've been saving their best for last. And specifically in this game, I think the Chiefs' offense will perform at the highest level they have all season. And we got a glimpse of that against Pittsburgh when they scored 29 points, and Mahomes was brilliant in that game, throwing for over 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. But I just think that they've been saving their best for last. I think that Travis Kelce already showed us what he's capable of in that game against Houston. And I think D-Hop is going to show up to play. I think Worthy's going to show up to play. Hollywood Brown, they're going to get these guys involved. Mahomes is going to be as sharp as he's been all season, as he always turns up in these type of playoff games. And I believe that Travis Kelce will have a massive game once again. And I'm also predicting that Mahomes and Worthy will connect on one deep ball in this game. They just haven't been in sync with that all season, but I just have a feeling that Mahomes, the Bills defense is going to underestimate Mahomes. They're going to run Worthy on a double move, and he's going to break open down the field. It'll be a splash play. And yeah, I think Mahomes has his best game of the season in this spot at home in the AFC Championship game. And I also expect Andy Reid to try and scheme the running game going with Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt. That'll be a big factor in this game on whether the Chiefs can sustain drives, on whether they can move the ball down the field. It can't all just be on Patrick Mahomes, although I think he's capable of doing that and taking over the game. I believe the Chiefs also need to have some sort of a balanced offensive game plan. And that starts with Pacheco, who's been kind of off since he's come back from injury. We'll see how he performs in this game. If he performs great, then that gives the Chiefs a great chance of winning this game. Now moving on to the other side of the ball, the Bills. Josh Allen, in every single playoff matchup, in every single regular season matchup against the Chiefs, it feels like Josh Allen gives his best performance that he possibly can, but it's his defense that's always letting him down, and I think that will be the case once again in this game. Another factor I forgot to mention earlier is that I trust the Chiefs playmakers more than I trust the Bills. I trust Travis Kelce, who has been in this spot so many times, more than I trust the Bills tight ends in terms of Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox, who haven't been in this type of a stage before. I also trust the wide receivers, DeAndre Hopkins and Hollywood Brown, who have playoff experience, over Khalil Shakir, Amari Cooper, and Curtis Samuel. I believe that when it comes down to it, I trust the Chiefs playmakers to make a play more than I trust the Bills playmakers to make a play. And Josh Allen could put on his Superman cape like he has done all season, but when the Bills have been most successful, it's been when the team around Josh Allen has been successful. In that Ravens game, he didn't even have to pass the ball as much as he should have. I believe he only had, I think it was under 150 total yards passing plus rushing. He just wasn't asked to do that much, and that's why the Bills were so successful, and that's why they were out in front in the game. They didn't need Josh to be spectacular. I think they will need Josh to be spectacular if they want any chance of winning this game at Arrowhead. And I think that gives an advantage to Kansas City. And if the Bills are able to run the ball the way they were against Baltimore, against Kansas City, then I think the Chiefs are in trouble. But I don't think they can run the ball on the Chiefs. In that first game, James Cook only had 10 carries for 19 yards. He had less than 2 yards per carry in that first matchup against the Chiefs. So I don't think the Bills can establish a run game at Arrowhead against the Chiefs, which will force Josh Allen to become Superman once again. And when Josh Allen has had to become Superman, that's when the Bills tend to get away from who they really are and when they're at their best. And that's why I think the Chiefs will win this game and take advantage of that factor. With that being said, in the first matchup, the Bills running backs were clamped. They had only 2.6 yards per carry. And I expect a big game from Khalil Shakir out of the slot. And I also think Amari Cooper is going to have to step up. He had 0 catches in that game against Baltimore, as well as Keon Coleman, who only had 1 catch. So Keon Coleman and Amari Cooper, their wide receiver 1 and 2 combined, only had 1 catch. They're going to need way more from them in this game if they want any chance of beating Kansas City. And I expect a back and forth shootout. I think Josh Allen plays his best. Patrick Mahomes plays his best. But in the end, Josh Allen's efforts will not be enough for the Bills to win this game. And I believe Patrick Mahomes will get the ball last. He'll drive his team down the field, whether it's in overtime or to kick a game-winning field goal. And I believe the Chiefs win this game on either a walk-off touchdown or a walk-off field goal. And I think they read a ton of momentum into the Super Bowl. I think this is the spot the Chiefs love to be in when they're being doubted. A lot of the bets right now are on the Bills to win this game because the NFL is tired. NFL fans in general, NFL players. For example, Marlon Humphrey was tweeting out that someone's got to stop the Chiefs. I don't think this is going to be the year someone stops them. I think the Chiefs go all the way and they complete the three-peat. I can't bet against Patrick Mahomes. Not in this spot. I simply just can't do it. Although my gut wants me the Bills to win this game, I simply cannot bet against Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Steve Spagnuolo. They're just so great in situational football. And Sean McDermott has shown that he can get tight in late of games. And I trust Andy Reid more than I trust Sean McDermott. And I believe Josh Allen will play great. He just won't play great enough. And there's such little margin for error in this game for the Bills. And if Josh Allen does end up turning the ball over, that could spell them a lot of trouble in this game. But I believe Mahomes is going to remind the entire NFL why he's a 2-time MVP, why he's a 3-time Super Bowl champion, 3-time Super Bowl MVP. The resume speaks for itself, yet he still gets disrespected. I trust him in this spot. I trust him to get it done and to win this game at home as a favorite. And I expect the Chiefs to move on to the Super Bowl to play the Philadelphia Eagles. Thank you guys for tuning in to this prediction video, and I'll see you guys next week when I'll give you a recap of the outcome of these 2 games.